Sometimes I sit down and laugh at myself, because if somebody had told me that a small shiny phone would scatter my life, I would have slapped the person with laughter. But here I am, talking to myself like one confused actress in a cheap movie. Daniel and I, oh Daniel, my sweet Daniel. We were like bread and butter, always together, always smiling, always making jokes that didn't even make sense. We could sit down for hours doing nothing, and still it would feel like the most precious time of my life. I used to brag to my friends that true love still existed, because Daniel showed me that. He was not rich, no, he didn't have cars or mansions, but he had a heart that carried me carefully like glass. I remember one night, when rain was falling heavily, and my umbrella broke. Guess what Daniel did? He took off his jacket, covered my head with it, and walked in the rain himself like one sacrificial goat. I almost cried that day because who does that anymore? It was love, pure love. But maybe that was the problem. Life likes to test people when everything looks too sweet. I never imagined that my own test would come in the form of something I could hold in one hand. A phone. You see, Daniel and I didn't really care about material things. We were not the type to chase the latest gadgets. My own phone was even old. The screen had cracks like Lagos Road. And sometimes, it would freeze and refuse to open WhatsApp unless I begged it with prayers. Still, Daniel never complained. He would just laugh and say, "Florence, even if your phone is broken, my love for you can never hang. Sweet boy." Looking back now, maybe I should have stayed content. But at that time, I didn't even know that temptation was cooking somewhere. All I knew was that I had Daniel. My peace, my friend, my lover. And my future husband, at least. That's what I thought. I didn't know that someone was already planning to shake my foundation like earthquake. That night I couldn't sleep. I was smiling into the pillow, replaying Daniel's silly jokes in my head. Sometimes he would call me Madam President, because I liked to command him around. And the foolish boy would even salute me. That was our love. We didn't need much. We didn't need iPhones or fancy shoes. We just needed each other. But let me not lie to myself, deep down. I liked nice things, who doesn't? Sometimes when I scrolled Instagram and saw girls taking mirror selfies with shiny new phones, I would sigh small, but I told myself, "Florence, your time will come." I didn't know my time would come in a way that would nearly destroy me. So here I am, remembering those sweet beginnings. If only I had known that love can be tested, not by storms or distance, but by the arrival of one shiny iPhone 17 Pro Max. If somebody had warned me that temptation doesn't always come with horns or a red tail, but sometimes with clean sneakers and a shiny iPhone 17 Pro Max, I would have believed quicker. But that day, temptation walked into my life wearing perfume so strong that even my shadow turned to sniff. That was the day Mike appeared. I remember it clearly. Daniel and I had just finished eating roasted corn by the roadside, our small but sweet kind of date. We were laughing at one vendor who was shouting, "Sweet corn, sweeter than your mother-in-law," when Daniel's friend introduced us to Mike. From the moment I saw him, I knew trouble had landed. Not because of his face, handsome men are everywhere, but because of the phone in his hand. The way he held that iPhone 17 Pro Max ain't like it was a crown jewel. The phone was still new in the market, and everyone online was shouting about the camera that could see pimples from 3 streets away. Even my cracked screen was ashamed that day. Mike casually placed it on the table like he didn't know people were dying to even touch the box. And that was the beginning of my problem. Mike didn't waste time. He looked at me and smiled like one who already knew my weakness. "Hi Florence," he said, and my name rolled off his tongue like sugar. Then, as if it was part of his strategy, he started scrolling on his phone, making sure I saw the glowing screen. I tried not to look, but my eyes kept betraying me. God forgive me, but the phone was just too fine. The edges, the shine, the triple camera lenses staring at me like 3 small demons. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept remembering how Mike had taken pictures of us with the phone. Even the roasted corn on Daniel's shirt looked like it was part of an art exhibition. The pictures were so clear, I almost forgot my own name. And then the dangerous thoughts began creeping in. What if you had this phone? What if this was your own life? Don't you deserve nice things too? I shook my head like a madwoman. Florence, are you crazy? You have Daniel. Daniel loves you. Daniel is your peace. Daniel is your corn-eating partner. But then another voice whispered, "Yes, but Daniel cannot give you iPhone 17 Pro Max." I laughed out loud at myself. Imagine me, Florence, battling with 2 voices in my head because of one phone. But deep down, something had already shifted. I could feel it. Mike knew exactly what he was doing. The way he smiled, the way he waved the phone around, the way he asked me, "Do you want me to send you the pictures?" He was planting seeds, seeds of distraction, seeds of destruction. That night, I told myself I was strong enough to resist, but even as I was saying it, I was secretly wishing I had just one more chance to hold that phone in my hand. I don't even know how it happened, but suddenly Mike was everywhere. One minute he was just Daniel's friend. The next minute, he was calling me directly, texting me, sending pictures of random skies taken with his iPhone 17 Pro Max. Can you imagine? A normal blue sky looked like heaven when he captured it. Even ordinary akara on a plate looked like international cuisine. And me, the foolish girl, I would stare at those pictures for long minutes like I was studying them for WAEC. It started innocently, or so I told myself. Florence, he's just showing you the power of technology. No strings attached, but please. Who was I deceiving? Mike was smooth. Too smooth, he would say things like, "A beautiful girl, like you deserves to be framed with the best camera in the world." And I would laugh shyly, pretending I didn't like it. When inside me, my heart was doing backflips. Daniel noticed small changes. Oh yes, that boy was not blind. One evening, he asked me why I was smiling at my phone like mosquito, just tickled me. I lied, I said it was a funny meme. But in reality, it was Mike sending me a selfie where his beard looked like it was drawn by Picasso, thanks to the phone camera. It got worse. Mike started inviting me out, coffee shops, lounges, even a mall just to test the cinematic mode. Every time, the iPhone was the main character. He would hand it to me and say, "Take a picture, Florence. Feel the smoothness, the speed, the way I grabbed that phone ain. You would think I was holding my firstborn child." And slowly, the seduction game was working. I started comparing Daniel's cracked screen Android with Mike's glowing iPhone, comparing Daniel's simple lifestyle with Mike's flashy confidence. I began asking myself dangerous questions. What if life could be bigger than roasted corn dates? What if love also needs luxury? But let me not lie, part of me knew it wasn't about Mike. It was about the phone. The way my friends' eyes widened when they saw me holding it. The way strangers stared when I snapped pictures in public. Ah, I felt like a celebrity. Mike understood this weakness and fed it like firewood. He didn't talk much about love. He talked about lifestyle, comfort, shining like a star, and in my foolishness, I started to believe maybe that was love too. But Daniel, oh poor Daniel, he was still there, holding my hand, cracking silly jokes, calling me Madam President. He didn't know his competitor was not Mike, but a shiny rectangle in Mike's pocket. That's when I realized temptation doesn't attack you with big force. It comes slowly, softly like a gentle breeze. And before you know it, you're already leaning in the wrong direction. That was how my heart began to shift, one selfie at a time. Sometimes, I wonder if I was under a spell. Because the day I made the choice to leave Daniel still feels like a dream I can't wake up from. It wasn't like Mike knelt down and proposed. No, he didn't even promise me forever. All he promised me was a lifestyle, pictures, outings, the shine of that iPhone 17 Pro Max. And yet I followed him, me Florence, the same girl who used to swear Daniel was my soulmate. It happened on a Saturday afternoon. Daniel had invited me over to help him cook spaghetti. Simple life, simple joy, but that same morning, Mike called me with his voice sounding like honey. He said, "Florence, I just got the iPhone in titanium finish. Come and see it, you will be the first to touch it." My heart skipped. I should have said no. I should have ignored him and stayed with Daniel. But my curiosity dragged me like chain. I lied to Daniel, told him I wasn't feeling well and needed to rest. Poor boy even said, "Get some sleep. Madam President, I'll bring you food later." My heart pinched me, but I still dressed up and went to meet Mike. When I saw him holding that phone, shining like a diamond in sunlight, I knew I was finished. He took me out, bought me ice cream, snapped me in portrait mode. Ah, the pictures. I looked like a magazine cover. People passing by kept staring, and I felt like a celebrity. At that moment, I convinced myself that maybe Mike was the upgrade I needed. And that was how I slipped away from Daniel. Quietly, foolishly, I started avoiding his calls, giving excuses, pretending to be busy. In my head I told myself, "Florence, you're chasing a better future. This is your time to shine." But deep inside, I knew it wasn't Mike I wanted, it was the phone. Funny thing, Mike didn't even hide his game. He would always make the phone the center of attention. Sometimes he would hand it to me and say, "Imagine if this was yours forever. Imagine the doors it would open." And me, like a greedy child, I swallowed every word. But let me confess, the more time I spent with Mike, the more I realized something strange. His compliments were shallow, his laughter fake, his eyes always scanning for who was watching us. He didn't care about me, not the way Daniel did. Still, I ignored the red flags. I told myself, Florence, don't think too much, just enjoy, life is short. That was the dangerous choice. Choosing Mike, choosing the iPhone, and letting go of Daniel, without even giving him the respect of a proper goodbye. If I had known what was waiting for me ahead, I would have tied myself to Daniel's gate and refused to move. But at that moment, I felt like I was winning. I thought I had upgraded. I didn't know I was digging my own downfall with my own hands. They say sugar can look sweet until you taste it and realize it's just sand in disguise. That's exactly how my story with Mike turned out. At first, everything was shining, pictures, outings, compliments, but slowly, I started to notice cracks, and not on a phone screen this time, on my heart. Mike was not like Daniel. Daniel would call me in the morning just to pray for my day. He would check if I had eaten, if I had reached home safely. Mike, he only called when he wanted something, or when he wanted me to follow him out and show off. And of course, when he wanted me to hold the phone like one fine handbag, so people would think it was mine. One night, we went to a party. Everybody was dancing, laughing, snapping pictures. Mike gave me the iPhone and told me to take a group photo. I felt proud holding it, like I was carrying a trophy. But when I checked the gallery afterward, I saw pictures that shook me, different girls. Same sweet words he used on me. Same fake smiles, same poses. My heart dropped. That's when I realized I wasn't special. I was just another player in his phone game. Still, foolish Florence decided to stay. Why? Because I told myself, at least I still get to enjoy the phone. But it didn't take long before even that fake enjoyment collapsed. One afternoon, while we were at a cafe, Mike left the phone on the table and went outside to take a call. My heart was beating fast. I wanted to check his messages. But before I could even touch it, one sharp-looking guy walked past, grabbed the phone and disappeared like breeze. Just like that. I screamed, I ran outside, but the thief was gone. Mike came back shouting at me like a madman. Are you stupid? Why didn't you hold it? Do you know how much this phone costs? I stood there shaking, tears rolling down. But all he cared about was the phone. Not me, not my fear, not my tears, just the phone. That was the bitter truth. I wasn't his girlfriend. I wasn't even his friend. I was just decoration. A way to show off. A puppet he used because I was dazzled by an object I never even owned. And now, the same object had vanished. No iPhone, no Mike, and no Daniel. Because while I was chasing Mike and his shiny gadget, Daniel had quietly disappeared from my life. He stopped calling, stopped texting, stopped waiting for me. I guess even the sweetest hearts get tired when love is taken for granted. That night, I sat in my room with my cracked old phone in my hand, crying like a baby. I had lost everything. And all for what? A phone that wasn't even mine. Sometimes I sit in front of the mirror and ask myself, Florence, are you normal at all? Because how can one small shiny phone scatter your destiny like this? A phone I didn't buy with my own money. A phone that didn't even last in my hand before it disappeared. Now both the phone and the men are gone. And I'm left with my cracked old screen, looking like punishment. Daniel, sweet Daniel, he didn't fight me. He didn't insult me. He didn't even ask me why I changed. He just walked away silently, like a gentleman. That silence hurt me more than a slap would have. I used to complain that his Android camera made me look dull. But now I wish I could go back and take one more blurry picture with him. At least those pictures had love inside them, not vanity. As for Mike, he vanished like smoke the moment the iPhone was stolen. No calls, no messages, no explanations. It was as if I had never existed. That's when it hit me, I wasn't the prize. The phone was. Once the phone was gone, so was I. That bitter truth sat in my chest like a stone. But let me not lie, in between my tears, I still laugh at myself. Imagine me, Florence, crying over a man I never even loved, and a phone that was never mine. Sometimes I shout, God, why didn't you just break that phone before it reached my hand? Maybe then my heart wouldn't have cracked the way my screen did. Now, I talk to myself like this because maybe someone out there will hear my story and avoid my mistake. We live in a world where material things blind us. We think shiny objects equal happiness. But in the end, it's people who matter. Real love, real care, real laughter over roasted corn. That's what stays. Phones will come and go. Versions will keep upgrading. But a good man like Daniel doesn't fall from the sky every day. If I could turn back time, I would hold Daniel's hand tighter, smile at his silly jokes louder, and never trade his cracked screen for any golden iPhone. But life doesn't allow rewinds. All I can do now is learn, laugh at my foolishness, and carry my regret like a handbag. So yes, this is me, Florence, telling my story to myself. The story of how an iPhone 17 Pro Max came into my life, blinded me, used me, and left me empty. I lost the phone, I lost Mike. Worst of all, I lost Daniel. And the biggest lesson: a phone can take a picture of your face, but it can never capture the love in someone's heart. I learned that too late.